Okay, so welcome to meeting number 26. It seems impossible, doesn't it? The numbers keep growing. Um, Appreciate everybody making time today. Let me put our agenda up for the meeting today. So we're gonna, do welcome and introductions as we always do. And if you're just joining, throw where you're coming from in the chat. And if you're new, we love to see if people are new. Um, And also, we encourage people to use the chat throughout the session. So, as you're reacting to things that people are talking about or have ideas or things that you want to share, feel free to populate the chat with those um, as we move forward. Just want to do a quick follow-up on our speaker we had last meeting and then spend some time talking about the speaker that's coming up next meeting. And then I wanted to talk about the expanded one-on-one support launch that we have in place. We'll get into that a little bit, and then we'll do our project updates towards the end. We had a couple of people that weren't going to be able to make it, but I actually see Lana's here. So great to see you, Lon. I didn't move the order around just in case you were going to be coming in towards the later part of the meeting. So um, and then if we have time, we'll talk about ongoing action items and team breakouts. So just wanted to do a really quick follow-up. We had Charlie Johnson here last meeting on April 15th. We talked about what must remain human. And I thought as follow-up to some of these speaker sessions, it would be great to just create some space and opportunity for people to, if they have any long-term reflections from that content or anything they want to say about how they might have applied those ideas or how those ideas landed with you. So just wanted to open that up to the meeting and see if anybody had any reflections on the last speaker that we had. So you can unmute, share in the chat any way you want to do that. Um, but if anybody has any thoughts or about that, please share.
Hi, Rich. This is Lan Johnson. I do wanted to report that from South Bend, Amo, who has been active member in the working group, training working group as
Mhm.
well, has met with some of the working group members, and that's very much aligned with what that presentation shared as well,
Oh,
which
great.
means basically a human centric approach to assess the readiness of an organization in adopting AI. Previously, it's just a tool, but now there is thinking that a rewiring of this whole concept that, hey, what people's jobs are going to be helped with AI, but what aspects, humanly unique aspects, still need to be remaining with humans, not AI. So that effort is going to be continuing in the working group.
Great. That sounds great. And I think that's something we could maybe even, get some thoughts from Anne Mal on and her work with change management. These are things from that broader perspective that you're talking about, right?
Yes,
So that
so
might be a good connecting point with her work that she's doing, change management for sure. So,
yeah, we're supporting her in that.
oh, great, great.
Mm.
So you've already connected.
Yeah, so we had follow-up meetings
Excellent.
and going to, so they have a 2 year plan or 1 year plan.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Oh,
It's
City of South Bend, that's what you mentioned, right? Yeah.
yes.
Got it. I wasn't making that connection. Sorry, the coffee hadn't got in yet. But that's great. I'm glad you guys are connecting around that because I do think there's a lot of like linkage between like what he's talking about and how you're preparing your organization to move forward, right? Um, Ben, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, absolutely. So the speaker, Charlie Johnson, was actually my first interaction with this group. So it was a great first session to jump into. And I work in the post-secondary education policy space. So I found it incredibly helpful because one of the things that we end up focusing a lot on is the end user component. We're talking with a lot of faculty members, individuals that work in administration. So really emphasizing the human point and what needs to remain human is integral to making sure that we're building a broad enough coalition moving forward. So, as we kind of embark on a lot of the outreach we have with public and private institutions in the Midwest, it's a topic of concern for us. So, again, really found the valuable insights in that presentation to help the work that we're doing on the ground up here in this part of the country.
Great. Thanks so much for that, Dan. I think that's really, really important in terms of how you're building those connections, right? Um, and just a reminder to everybody that, in addition to our standard project update meetings, the speaker session meeting recordings will be available on the YouTube channel, the link that we share. So, if you ever want to revisit any of the concepts from any of our speaker series, they'll be there for you to go back to anytime you want. So, um,
And Rich, if I may
yes,
also extend what Ben just mentioned as well, by also combining cybersecurity principles or best practices in that field into this AI adoption. So traditionally, all of the frameworks actually can be broken down into three domains, and that is a human factor and then process factor, which means
mm,
organizational processes,
yep,
and then technology factor. So all those three things need to be looked at for readiness. And so far, pretty much only technical technology side, right, is considered,
yep,
but not the other two aspects. So that's what we hope that we will be able to help South Bend maturing the entire human-centered approach.
great. Well, I'm really excited about that, and I can't wait to hear the updates on how you're integrating that because I really do think that that sort of balanced approach is really going to be helpful for people to wrap their heads around how to implement AI, in a responsible way. So really excited to hear that the concepts landed with you and that they're useful to you. And, we're really going to be thinking about that moving forward with bringing people into the speaker series. So we're really excited to add that component to this um, committee for sure. So, okay, I'm going to move us forward a bit and if I can get this to go. I'm going to turn it over to Meg, who's going to talk. She's taken the reins and arranged the next speaker for the May 20th session. So, Meg, do you want to talk about this upcoming speaker engagement?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Great to be with you. I am Meg Young. I work at a nonprofit called Data and Society. And one function of Data and Society is to stay connected to a broad network of academics, government, civil society. We have a lot of closed door convenings as well as big public events. And that gives us a good vantage point on folks that we can poach and try to bring into this space to share value here. Um, I asked some colleagues for recommendations and heard that we should definitely hear from the Open Contracting Partnership, which is a global organization that speaks to governments all over the place and they have insights for us on um, evidence from the field, how to think about AI adoption in your organization, and a lot of their talk will be based on a buying AI guide that their colleague launched at the summit last year, but many of us might not be familiar with because many people aren't able to make it to the summit. So this session will be informally co-hosted with the procurement committee and will strike broader scope beyond procurement to think about readiness, adoption, needs assessment. And I'd also love to hear what other topics, themes, and questions that you bring to this space that I could support other speaker invitations around in the future. So please drop those for me in the chat or any nominations for speakers, and I'd be thrilled to bring them in.
Great. Thanks so much, Meg. Looking forward to this conversation next meeting. And, again, as Meg said, drop any ideas and thoughts you have for speakers, and we will definitely lean on her network to see who we can bring in to provide as much value as we can to the committee. So thank you so much, Meg. Let's see, next up. So you've heard us talk about this a couple of times, but we've always had a one-on-one policy support channel for people that Sahar has run for us. And it's basically you can have individualized support in a one-on-one meeting rather than bringing meetings to the committee meeting like this, but it's more focused attention. It's helped us help agencies address a number of policy issues. So we've expanded that to include a way to get one-to-one sessions on additionally community engagement and data governance. So we're very excited to expand that capacity. There's a Google Forms intake form that you can fill out to answer some questions to get routed to the correct person that can answer your questions. But just broadly, this is on the intake form, but I just wanted to sort of walk through these at a high level so that it orients our group to these, so that when you're thinking about engaging with this service or referring people at your agency to engage with this service, you sort of know what the lanes are. And so community engagement, Meg, I don't know if you want to go over this at all. You can.
Yeah, yes, for sure. So Liz Bueller from the city of Salt Lake City is going to be doing one-on-one coaching with anyone who's interested in community engagement. And, not many public agencies in the country are doing this yet, but it is so essential for flagging any blind spots in especially higher risk AI delivery, those related to services, benefits. These are the kinds of things that it's especially important to be thinking about community engagement. But even more broadly, we've seen things like computer vision and more data intensive systems are ones that residents want to know about, have an active interest in helping shape from an early stage. So if your organization is considering a new system that people might have questions, concerns, input, one of the best things that you could do and that we recommend is to start early. And we have a lot of tips, tricks, and a handbook for helping bring residents into that conversation. Liz, is there anything you want to add?
The only thing I would add is that you can find our handbook on the GovAI website under the resources. And also, as Meg is mentioning, think about engagement early, and you don't have to be afraid of engagement. The handbook is also really good, like an engagement 101, so to lower the barrier of getting started.
Great. Thanks so much, Meg and Liz, for checking in about this, and Liz for the ongoing coaching support that I'm sure people are going to find valuable. Albert, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, this is just, I'm a plant in the audience here, and I want to give a major plug for Meg and Liz and just community engagement around AI in general. Here in the city of San Jose, we started community engagement on things from automated license plate readers to how our staff using ChatGPT or any of these other AI tools, and it has been incredibly valuable for us. It's incredible seeing how a group of 20, 30 residents go from why are you using this tech to here is where I want you to put an ALPR device here. And I think that's very powerful. And it's led us to a much more collaborative environment when it comes to technology deployment. And frankly, it took me and another staff member, an hour or 90 minutes of our time one evening where we popped into a existing neighborhood association meeting, and that type of information was incredibly valuable for us. And it's something that, like, if you don't know where to begin or how to start, or if your agency has the capacity for it, like, go talk to Meg and Liz. They'll set you up on the right track.
Great. Thanks so much, Albert. Appreciate it. And the other channel we have added is data governance. Albert, is there anybody here that crosses over to data governance, or can you speak to sort of the data governance channel here? We may have lost him. He looks like he's frozen. Just let me read basically what's here. So the data governance channel is about if you're exploring implementing the DSA template or similar governance frameworks, if you're seeking to improve collaboration or data sharing across teams or agencies, if you're developing or formalizing a data governance strategy to support AI-related work, or you're addressing foundational issues such as data access, ownership, accountability, and oversight for AI systems. So these are specific data governance questions, but they're like, these get to be very complicated issues when you're starting to think about deploying AI and how you're going to set up your data and access and controls. So there is going to be a specific coach assigned to handle one-on-one engagements here as well. And Albert, I was plugging you while you were frozen and reconnecting to see if you had anything to add on the data governance piece. I walked through the bullets, but if you wanted to speak to anything about who the coach might be for that.
Yeah, so RT Tangri from City of San Jose and Sarah Carrier from uh, City of Seattle have been fantastic leaders on our data governance front, basically building alongside hopefully 30 other government agencies across the country on what does data governance and your data governance policy look like in the age of AI. They've put together a whole template just on that and building that foundation. And they're the ones that are able to provide this type of support. Sarah comes at it as like on the privacy side for City of Seattle, which if there is a place to talk about data privacy in the United States, it's the City of Seattle. And then on RT side, our chief data lead here at the City of San Jose. They do fantastic work, and data is the foundation for AI. So, get it's worth a conversation.
Yes, great. Thank you so much. And I think both of those are going to be such great ads for individual one-on-one sessions. So I'm glad to see those are in place. And Albert has put the launch form in there. I do want to also make some room to talk about policy and support for the people that are new to the meeting today. And Sahar does this. Sahar, are you on the call? Do you want to talk to this piece?
Yeah, hi, Rich. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And like we have these wonderful other support groups, community engagement, data sharing, especially the data sharing agreement template is so useful if you guys ever come across that need. So what I also provide is support for policy. If you are depending on where you are in your journey, if you're starting new or you are in the midst of having a policy for your organization and you wanted to understand more with respect to how it applies to your own organization, how do you translate the templates, the examples shared on the GovAI Coalition website. And if you're looking for individualized support or if you're stuck, we can help navigate it together. I do it one-on-one, or if there is enough signups for a group of people in similar phase of their journey, I can even do small groups. It's not, again, it won't be a large group where there is we're trying to get you individualized attention. So maybe 3, 4 at the most, or something like that, if it is small group. but feel free to reach out. Some of you have already reached out, and we have sessions scheduled. It's the same form that Albert sent. We can use the same form to book time with me at for the policy support as well as the other community support groups. So if you have any questions, you can even reach out to me via email, or that form has all the information that you can provide to help me prepare better and make the meeting productive. So as much information as you can provide, it's great. If not, we can work together when we have our session. Any questions on this?
Rich,
Oh.
if I can just add, to be very
Yes.
clear, everyone, this is free. This is people in government and civil society volunteering their time to mutually support each other, because we've all been in a position where we need to grow more and learn more from each other. And this is where some of that learning and sharing happens, because I know how intimidating it can be to speak up sometimes in larger settings. They are volunteering their time to do this, and please, take advantage of it and learn something. And then once you've grown and learned, come back and teach the rest of us.
That's a great point, Albert. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Yes, it's absolutely free. And like Albert said, we are not only helping you, we are helping ourselves too by learning some of the challenges that are happening so that we can share with the rest of the group to see how we can, learn from each other and grow, I guess. So thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really valuable to have these multiple channels, and they can refer to each other as well now too, right? So if you're in a complicated data governance discussion and a policy thing needs to be worked out, there's access to Sahar then to talk about policy issues. So I like the idea that these are, very connected, and the coaches are fluent in the resources of the coalition and can point you to the right place or the right person to have a conversation if it if it morphs beyond just what you started to reach out to them about. So really appreciate the idea behind setting this up and expanding the access. And I pulled these bullets in so that you could we could sort of talk about them, but they are also in the upfront part of the form, the introduction of the form. So if you just access the form, it'll sort of help you figure out which channel you might want to start with. So thanks to Albert and the team for helping set this up, and all of the individual coaches that are going to be doing this work. So really appreciate it. Let's see. So I think we're up to our project check-ins. Lon, you're up first. And just a note for you, I've split your content across 2 slides. So, the other graphic that you sent to me is on the other slide. So when you're ready to move to that, let me know.
Right. Maybe we can just switch over to the other one directly so that we are, okay.
Is that where you want to start?
Yes, let's
Great.
go with this one. It's a little easier to people's eyes to sink in. The other one, I think, it has a lot of details that may not need to take up this forum's time. So we start first by acknowledging that so far the work has been great. It's like a wildfire spreading to more and more government agencies and people. But for the most part, some leaders have noticed that it's still it's like a fire and ice kind of situation among the early adopters. Yes, everything's going great. The GovAI Coalition has ignited so much passion and provided so much help. In the meantime, maybe some other people who, like 95% of them, may still be in a place. They haven't moved much. And so an opportunity exists for us, especially our working group, to meet the 95% where they are at, while thinking 2 steps ahead in connection with the whole GovAI. So this is the latest from the latest bi-weekly meeting from the working group. And specifically, what it is a learning community where humans test drive whatever their ideas are about AI in a safe environment. And specifically, what does that mean? There are 4 things that pretty much center around that learning community. First is awareness for everyone, and that starts with training playbooks. So the working group has completed 3 playbooks, and with the leadership's tremendous support and fire services playbook as well, all going really quite a testament to this learning community together producing outcomes, right? So the group also has voted now to be the next playbook topic, which is AI training for leaders. So anyone who has thoughts in this topic or feels like, hey, your leaders may also be open to such, therefore you wanted to get in early to shape this playbook, definitely join in the group to shape up this together. So that's the awareness for everyone piece. And then for people who have some awareness, then they want to get a little deeper dive into AI. So that's certification program where they can actually prove that they have skills. So the team has explored the certification program needs, and a training curriculum draft has already been done and got some positive feedback. But then the focus is now shifting more to the test design aspect. So some people may have received training as an offer from their city government or their organizations, like the city of San Jose. They have done 4 or 3 cohorts, right? The 4th coming this summer. And so those people, if they feel like they've already gotten some skills, they just wanted to take the certification test, then that is the thing to do. So that's where this initiative is about, the current status. I'll pause a little bit to see if any questions or comments.
Hey, Juan,
Yeah.
how deep are we into the 4th playbook right now?
The 4th playbook, we're just starting with some early on conversations, Albert.
Oh, okay. And who's spearheading this one?
There are a few people, but we have not finalized on that, Albert.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. The reason why I asked for 2 things. One, I know that we've put there's been some work put together by uh, some of our folks from Center for Democracy and Technology around AI for leaders that we've been publishing out. And I'm wondering if that material might play this role, um, or might be a jumping off point there.
I imagine, how about this? Once we have the team formed, they will reach out to you. And first of all, this is what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
A wide scope research to see what is out there and to leverage what is out there. And then there's going to be a plan, a roadmap ahead. So at that some point, before the roadmap, probably reach out to you and reach people basically who have the high level vision to give feedback and to guide the next steps. So that's what I'm picturing, Albert. So all
Okay.
of those that you just mentioned will need to be part of the resources and start
Got
point.
it. Got it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And if, if there's things out there that we can point to or say like, hey, this is the training, go do that,
Mhm.
providing that guidance in its own right, even if it's just like a page or something,
Yeah,
that goes a long way. And also reduces confusion you know,
yeah.
if we're not trying to add more to that body. The one other thing that I'll add here, since you're in the ideation phase, is maybe talking a bit with Dan Healy, who's on the call actually, um, and see if there's an interest in a, I don't know if it's a playbook per se, but more of, I would think of it as like a manual or even a slide deck or an hour training presentation of what do police departments need to know about AI right now. Dan and I have been working a lot on how do we start supporting our police departments as they get constantly bombarded with different AI tools or AI opportunities. And
Mhm.
what's the what is the knowledge that your day-to-day officer needs to have um, around AI to make sure
Mhm.
that it's supporting their work and not hurting their work. Um, Dan,
That's awesome.
I don't know if you can come off. Oh, okay, I see you're coming off mute. If you wanted to add, I just think the our training working group has really been putting in some work, and I know we've been in need of some horsepower to get the police training off the ground.
Dan, if you want to comment to that. But while you get ready, I just wanted to come clean, Albert. Dan and
Mhm.
I met at the California governor's cybersecurity workforce. So
Oh, awesome.
he recognized my name
Yeah.
because of our work in the working group. So we chatted, and we're going to meet up next week also to follow up.
Oh, so you said we're already got a plan. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Synergy.
Yeah.
This is wonderful, though, Albert. Your way to connect the dots and connecting the people together, that is so valuable because we, I mean, without that governor's workforce summit, I would not know Dan. So, um, so please do continue to connect us with the different people to push us forward this way.
Yeah, and just want to reinforce Albert's comments that, you remember we talked at the beginning of the year about sort of the curation versus development, decision making and what we're going to be doing with the working group moving forward. And I think if there is an existing leadership resource, like as Albert said, use that. That might inform if there's something else that we want to focus on specifically for the playbook that hasn't been built, right? That it might help us like fine tune that content and figure out where we're going to add more value by being able to reference that document, but also creating additional content that might be helpful for people. And for the police thing, Dan, I think it's helpful because sometimes the scaling to training is small steps and maybe an easier stepping stone to a training course is like a playbook, right? Like something that's a little bit more tangible that can be like built on as a stepping stone to something, you know, a broader service or training product that you want. But it's like, what can we provide now and get in front of people that's going to be useful for people? And then based on response to that, how can we scale up from that, or is there a need to scale up from that, or what do we want to do with that going forward? Because I think there's so many ideas in the fire space, but I mean the police space, and it's how do we get started and get moving on something, right? So
I agree.
And yeah, to that note, the group, in terms of locking in AI training for leaders as the next playbook, I also want to ask this group of people whether that sinks in with everyone too. We basically put a vote to people, this topic versus AI implementation or agentic AI. And over 10 people participated. Uh, 8 of them selected this one in that working group meeting. So if this group also thinks, okay, that's the what you think as well, then great, we can move on ahead. But if anyone has other topics you want to bring forward, we can also the keep alignment live with the bigger GovAI coalition.
Yeah, I do want to
Right.
point out in the chat that Rick is mentioning if you have ideas or thoughts around AI for training beyond the meeting, there's a place in the training workshop Slack channel, working group Slack channel to continue to add to the conversation if you want.
Yeah,
And
thanks, Rick.
Sure.
So
I'm also checking with Andrew because Andrew's been really aggressive in leadership training for his organization, Kansas City. So yeah, I've been traveling a lot, and I'm really appreciative of Lon covering all this. But yeah, I'm now that I'm basically around, I'm happy to be very involved in helping us push this through.
oh yeah, definitely. This is how the group can continue to have the consistency. We have multiple people to play relay. Um, so in terms of the third initiative, moving on a little bit, so those people who have gotten the training and who also have dived in to get a certification, still, what about hands-on, right? And in organizations, some may have more AI tools, but some may not. Like some cities have one IT person altogether. So it's unlikely that those people have tools available at work for them to play. And so this working group also has a group of people who focus on the collaborative innovation. And this can also be a test bed for broader groups, and this group has tested it to work. Later on, time permitting, I will share some what it is like. Albert asked to be part of that delivery team. So I have some clips where people had this agile meetings and what people do. But the notion is that the folks already, it's really fast delivery of AI capabilities. They have developed the Gov AMA Ask Me Anything and Gov AI Get Me AI. Basically, it's like a sandbox that is already secure by design and tested to be secure according to, say, NIST standards of AI risk framework. So this whole thing is available right now to the working group members only, but we could think about this as an opportunity to then maybe support some champions like Sahar, like Liz, people who are already helping other people. And so this could be a tool for you all when you and scale up your time. So your 5 minutes time right now maybe can help 5 people or I don't know the number, but with some AI enabled tool like this, it may enable you to help 50 people. So that's one opportunity I think is pretty real. And I want to circle back later, but so members like Stephen Hill and Nikolai from Kansas City have been working in this group. And they have given a few words of their own to share with this the Readiness and Adoption group. So I'll circle back later as to what they said. And I'll pause here for a sec for comments, questions. And then I'll just move on to the final initiative, which kind of completes the ecosystem circle. And this one is about measurements and metrics. So we're doing all of this. How do we know it is beneficial to anyone, to these people, as well as, say, their organization, right? So this initiative focuses on the metrics for different aspects, like the technical side, the performance of the AI tools, in terms of productivity, in terms of risk control management, in terms of ROI, but also down the line is going to measure also people's performance. Earlier, I kind of commented on the impact on humans, right? So the metrics will also be part of this, because the governments are not like for-profit businesses. It's not just saving money or making more money, but is really upholding the entire society's health and even happiness, community building, etc. So anyway, so that initiative will zoom in onto that, and so AMO is leading that from the government perspective. So I'll pause and then circle up to share what it is like to work in the group. If Rich, if you think that's a thing that we have time to do.
Sure.
Okay, I will. Oh, disabled share. Right now, I cannot share.
Oh, let me stop. You should be able to now.
Okay, yes. Find the tab to share. The issue of too many tabs. Huh. One thing is a video clip. Let's see what this gives us. Oh, so the group does is that they meet for half an hour on Monday, on Wednesday, and on Friday. So the Monday half an hour is to set the cards on the table, and people just pick up the cards that they're interested in to get done by Friday. And the Wednesday meeting is for those people who have hurdles or who just want to come together as a group. And then the Friday meeting, half an hour, is for people to share the summary of what they have done, to do demos of what they have done, and then for the group to brainstorm on, hey, what has worked really well this week, and what can be done differently for future consideration, and any other notes people to share. So what I'm sharing here is a completion of a sprint. So for people who know about agile methodology, a sprint is when you have a goal to get accomplished together as a team. And so we set this to be a 2-month sprint. And at the end of this 2 months, we had a game night. And so besides the wrapping up of the project deliverables, we folks also just spend some time playing games together. So this is
gift card. No, I'm joking.
So this is a team made this themselves. And then it's kind of spinning the wheel to see what you picked, and then you will share whatever that you the wheel tells you to do. So this is the one.
Right there. Share your favorite project.
Nice.
My favorite project was one of the first engagements I got outside of CyberTrust. It was for a client for an after action report. It was my first time hearing it phrased that way. I worked on different projects like that before. We had to go in there and just give like a summary of how they perform on things they're supposed to be doing versus what they were doing before. And that was one of the projects that I learned quite a bit on how CyberTrust.
So I'll pause on that. So that's a project that CyberTrust America actually beat out Gartner to win that project, and it performed it to the city's satisfaction.
Hey, Lon, just
yeah.
apologies. I just want to be mindful of time here. We've got about 10 minutes left, and Rich, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we were going to make the last 10 minutes available for our Fortis and registry folks to share a little bit more about there and get some input.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Albert. I was losing track of time there. So.
No
Yeah,
problem. There's a lot going on.
Pause in time.
But I did, Albert, I wanted to also have a chance for Dan to check in really briefly on policing, which I think he'll do pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So if we could have Dan check in really quickly, and I'll share his slide for him, and then we can move on. So.
Yes, I will go lightning speed. I just wanted to update that we have been working on a couple of things. We went to the California Post, which is the organization that certifies police training in the state of California, for their AI guidelines workshop. We went to that workforce development summit that Lon was talking about. That was good, talking about how we can upskill our current people and build pathways from education K-12 and up with AI skills. Ken Nelson's working on a risk assessment tool. And Sahir and I are just focusing in on goals. Maybe we'll do a sprint like what Lon was talking about. I presented at the Monterey County, California Law Enforcement Association Chiefs Summit. There's 15 chiefs or something. And I used the community engagement guide. So thanks to those people that created it, the guideline for elected officials, and the Starting Your AI training guide, which are all GovAI tools. And that was our toolkit, but I just, put them into one package for all of them, and they appreciated all the information. So it's just for policing, it's a kind of a hard industry to get into unless you meet them where they are. So we're trying to do that and then share the word that way. I advertised the summit in December to them and advocated for them to go. And then lastly, I'll put a link if anybody's interested in being a presenter at the Cal Chiefs Technology Summit. That's November 4th through 6th. And it says it's closed, but I know they're still accepting speakers, but get it in if you're interested in being a speaker.
Great. Thanks so much
Thanks,
for the
guys.
update, Dan, and thanks for the feedback from Meg and the community engagement guide. And Albert, I'm turning over to you and the Hortus team.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich. And Tom, I'm gonna just stop the recording. So close out this portion of the meeting, and then I'll pass it to you, Tom, to walk folks through. For those that are unfamiliar, the GovAI Coalition partnered with Fortis AI to be able to